Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How can we expect the world to respect us, to honor us, to treat us with dignity if we haven't first learned to respect ourselves? Respect, my friends, begins within. It is not something you can demand from others without first earning it from yourself. Now, let me tell you a little secret. Self-respect is not a gift, and it's not something someone else can give you. It's something you build, something you cultivate, brick by brick, moment by moment. Every decision you make, every action you take, every word you speak, those are the building blocks of your self-respect. We live in a world that often pushes us to seek approval from everyone else but ourselves. We crave validation from our bosses, our friends, even strangers on social media. But let me tell you, the approval you seek from others will never fill the void of self-respect. That's an inside job. And it's a job that requires daily effort, just like anything else worth having. Self-respect is not something that anyone can hand to you. It's not a gift you receive from external sources, nor is it something that magically appears overnight. Self-respect is built over time through deliberate choices, actions, and decisions that align with your values. It is a process of constructing an internal foundation that withstands life's challenges. This foundation of respect for yourself is something you create, not something anyone else can give you. To build self-respect, you must first understand that it comes from within. We often look outward for approval, validation, or praise, thinking that those things will fill us with a sense of worthiness. While external validation can feel good in the moment, it is fleeting. The real, lasting respect you need comes from the inside. It's built on how you perceive yourself and the actions you take. This means self-respect is entirely in your control. You decide through your actions and mindset whether you are respecting yourself or not. Every decision you make contributes to the structure of your self-respect. It's like building a house. Every brick matters, and each one adds to the strength and stability of the whole. For example, when you keep a promise to yourself, whether it's something small like waking up at a certain time or something bigger like completing a project, you're adding a brick to that foundation. Following through on your commitments, especially the ones you make to yourself, reinforces the belief that you are trustworthy and capable. It strengthens your self-respect because you're showing yourself that you value your own word. On the other hand, when you consistently break promises to yourself, whether through procrastination, neglect, or giving in to distractions, you chip away at that foundation. It sends the message that your word isn't worth much, even to you. Over time, this erodes your sense of self-respect. If you can't rely on yourself, it becomes harder to feel confident, to trust yourself in difficult situations, or to expect others to respect you. Self-respect is about more than just self-esteem. It's about holding yourself accountable and following through on what you know is right for you. This internal respect is tied deeply to self-discipline. Self-respect and self-discipline go hand in hand because it takes discipline to keep the promises you make to yourself. Whether it's staying consistent with a workout routine, dedicating time to personal growth, or managing your time wisely, each disciplined action adds to the foundation of your self-respect. The more you stick to your commitments, the more you reinforce the idea that you are someone worth respecting. You create a pattern of reliability which enhances your self-worth and confidence. Self-respect also requires being aware of your values and making choices that align with them. It's easy to get swept up in external expectations, doing things because others expect it or because it might gain approval. But true self-respect comes from living in accordance with what you believe is right, not just what others expect of you. Each time you act in line with your values, you are affirming to yourself that you are worthy of respect. Ultimately, self-respect is something you actively create, moment by moment, through the actions you take and the promises you keep. It is a lifelong process of building brick by brick, a foundation that can withstand life's inevitable challenges. By consistently showing up for yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of trust, honor, and respect, not just from others, but most importantly, from yourself. Self-discipline is the engine that powers self-respect. Without it, even the best intentions fall flat, and we find ourselves stuck in patterns of unfulfilled goals and broken promises. The connection between self-respect and self-discipline is inseparable because it's the discipline to follow through on commitments, especially the ones we make to ourselves, that builds the foundation of respect we have for ourselves. When you practice self-discipline, you're showing yourself that you are worthy of the time, effort, and energy it takes to achieve your goals and uphold your values. Self-discipline starts with small decisions. Every day we are faced with choices that test our commitment to the promises we've made to ourselves. Whether it's waking up early to exercise, sticking to a healthy eating plan, working on a personal project, or even choosing how to spend our free time. These decisions seem small, but they are opportunities to practice discipline. Every time we choose to follow through, even when it's difficult or inconvenient, we reinforce the belief that we are reliable, capable, and in control of our lives. This, in turn, strengthens our self-respect. The opposite is also true. When we consistently break promises to ourselves, when we hit snooze on the alarm instead of getting up to work out, or when we procrastinate on important tasks, we send a subtle but powerful message to ourselves that our word isn't valuable. Over time, this erodes our self-respect because we begin to lose trust in ourselves. If you can't rely on yourself to do what you've committed to, how can you expect to feel confident, capable, or worthy of respect? It's like letting yourself down over and over again. Each missed opportunity to act with discipline chips away at your sense of self-worth. Self-discipline also teaches us patience and delayed gratification, both of which are essential for building long-term self-respect. Many of the rewards that come from disciplined actions, whether it's personal growth, professional success, or improved health, take time to manifest. In a world that often prioritizes instant gratification, it takes discipline to stay the course and invest in actions that won't pay off immediately but will yield significant results in the future. This patience is a form of self-respect because it shows that you believe you're worth the time and effort it takes to build something meaningful. Another important aspect of self-discipline is consistency. Self-respect doesn't come from occasional bursts of motivation or one-off acts of discipline. It's built over time through repeated actions. Consistency, even when you don't feel like it, is what sets apart those who have a strong sense of self-respect from those who struggle with it. Each time you choose discipline over instant gratification or laziness, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become, someone who is dependable, trustworthy, and in control of their own life. It's also important to note that self-discipline doesn't mean being rigid or punishing yourself. It's about finding balance and knowing when to push yourself and when to give yourself grace. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about progress. When you slip up, self-discipline gives you the framework to get back on track without self-criticism or guilt. This compassionate approach to discipline also strengthens self-respect, as it teaches you that you are capable of bouncing back and continuing on your path. In the end, self-discipline is the daily practice that builds the muscle of self-respect. It's not always easy, but the rewards are profound. Each disciplined action adds to your sense of self-worth, showing you that you are someone who honors their commitments, values their time, and takes control of their own life. Through discipline, you create a life that reflects your values and reinforces the belief that you are deserving of respect from yourself and from others. Boundaries are a powerful expression of self-respect. They define what we will and won't accept in our lives and help us protect our energy, time, and emotional well-being. When we set boundaries, we're making a clear statement to ourselves and to others: I value myself and I deserve to be treated with respect. This act of drawing lines around our needs and priorities is crucial for maintaining a healthy sense of self-respect because it allows us to safeguard what matters most to us. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear being seen as rude, selfish, or difficult. They might avoid saying no because they don't want to disappoint others or because they think it's their duty to be accommodating. However, when we continuously prioritize others' needs over our own, we compromise our self-respect. Each time we allow someone to overstep our boundaries, we send a message to ourselves that our own needs, feelings, and time aren't as important as those of others. Over time, this erodes our self-worth and leads to feelings of resentment and exhaustion. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away or being harsh. In fact, it's the opposite. Boundaries create healthier, more respectful relationships. When you respect yourself enough to set clear limits, you also teach others how to respect you. People learn how to treat you based on how you treat yourself. If you allow others to take advantage of your time, energy, or kindness without setting limits, they will continue to do so, often without even realizing they're overstepping. But when you clearly communicate your boundaries, you create an environment of mutual respect and understanding. Boundaries also protect your mental and emotional health. Without them, you risk becoming overwhelmed, overcommitted, or emotionally drained. Constantly saying yes when you really want to say no creates internal conflict. You might feel obligated to please everyone around you, but inside you're neglecting your own needs. Over time, this can lead to burnout and resentment, as well as a weakened sense of self-respect. By setting boundaries, you honor your own well-being, ensuring that you have the time and energy to take care of yourself while still being there for others in a meaningful way. One of the most important aspects of setting boundaries is learning to say no without guilt. This is a difficult skill for many, especially those who have been conditioned to believe that saying no is selfish or unkind. But the truth is, every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your values, priorities, or energy levels, you're saying yes to yourself. And that is a powerful act of self-respect. Saying no when necessary allows you to protect your time and focus on what truly matters to you. In addition to saying no, boundaries also means setting clear expectations in your relationships, whether they are personal, professional, or social. It's about communicating openly about your needs, limits, and what you will or won't tolerate. This could mean defining your work hours to avoid burnout, setting limits with friends or family on how much time you're able to give, or even removing toxic people from your life who consistently disrespect your boundaries. These actions are not only necessary for your well-being, but they also reinforce your sense of self-respect by showing yourself that you deserve to be treated with care and dignity. Ultimately, boundaries are a form of self-care and self-respect. They empower you to take control of your life, protect your energy, and ensure that you are living in alignment with your values. By setting and enforcing boundaries, you strengthen your self-respect, allowing yourself to live with more peace, confidence, and integrity. Boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges to healthier relationships and a more fulfilled, balanced life. Self-respect isn't about being perfect or always getting things right. It's about progress, not perfection. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that they need to be flawless in order to feel good about themselves or to be respected by others. They strive for an unattainable level of perfection and beat themselves up when they inevitably fall short. But real self-respect comes from accepting your imperfections and recognizing that growth is a continual process. It's about the journey, not the destination. Perfectionism can be crippling. When you set unrealistic standards for yourself, you create a situation where you're constantly judging yourself harshly. This constant self-criticism leads to feelings of inadequacy, frustration, and even failure, no matter how much you achieve. When perfection becomes the goal, the fear of failure looms large, often paralyzing you from taking action. This can prevent you from trying new things, taking risks, or stepping out of your comfort zone activities that are essential for growth. Instead of striving for perfection, self-respect requires you to embrace the idea of progress. It's about doing your best, learning from your mistakes, and continuing to improve over time. Accepting that progress is the goal frees you from the pressure of perfection. When you focus on progress, every small step forward becomes a victory. You begin to value the effort and the process rather than just the outcome. This shift in mindset allows you to celebrate your growth, even when things don't go perfectly. It gives you the space to learn from setbacks and mistakes without tearing yourself down in the process. Self-respect means giving yourself the grace to grow, to stumble, and to get back up again. Progress also involves being kind to yourself. Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding you would offer a friend or loved one. If someone you care about made a mistake, you wouldn't berate them or make them feel like a failure. Instead, you would encourage them to learn from the experience and keep going. Self-respect means offering yourself that same level of kindness and understanding. It's about acknowledging that you're human, that mistakes are part of the learning process, and that each step forward, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you also strengthen your resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from challenges, setbacks, and failures. When you allow yourself to make mistakes and view them as opportunities for growth, you develop the resilience needed to keep going, even when things get tough. This resilience reinforces your self-respect because you learn to trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. You begin to see yourself as capable, adaptable, and strong, regardless of the obstacles you face. Focusing on progress also helps you stay aligned with your values. Perfectionism often leads to a focus on external approval, trying to meet other people's expectations or seeking validation from others. But when you respect yourself, you prioritize your own values and what's meaningful to you. You set goals that align with your personal growth and happiness rather than chasing an unrealistic ideal of perfection. This alignment with your values deepens your self-respect because you're living authentically in a way that honors who you are and what you believe. In the end, self-respect isn't about getting everything right or never making mistakes. It's about recognizing your own worth, being kind to yourself through the ups and downs, and committing to continuous growth. When you focus on progress instead of perfection, you give yourself the freedom to evolve and improve at your own pace. You build a sense of respect that comes from within, rooted in the understanding that you are enough just as you are, and that every step forward is a step toward becoming the best version of yourself. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. This simple truth often goes unnoticed, but it's at the core of how relationships, both personal and professional, function. When you carry yourself with confidence, honor your time, and stand by your word, you project a sense of self-respect that others naturally respond to. On the other hand, when you neglect your own needs, break promises to yourself, or tolerate disrespect from others, you send a signal that you're willing to accept less than what you deserve. In essence, how you treat yourself becomes the blueprint for how others treat you. One of the clearest ways this plays out is in how we set expectations with people. If you consistently prioritize everyone else's needs over your own, people will come to expect that from you. They'll assume you're always available to help, always willing to put their priorities first, even at the expense of your own well-being. But when you respect your time, your energy, and your boundaries, others will begin to see that and treat you with the same level of respect. For example, if you consistently say yes to extra work or social obligations when you're already stretched thin, people may not realize they're overwhelming you. However, when you start setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and protecting your time, you teach others that your needs and limits matter just as much as theirs. Carrying yourself with self-respect also means keeping the promises you make to yourself. Whether it's committing to a personal goal, taking care of your health, or pursuing a dream, following through on your own commitments sends a powerful message not only to yourself, but to others as well. When you honor your word, people notice. They begin to understand that you take yourself seriously, and as a result, they will take you seriously too. If you consistently follow through on what you say you'll do, both in your personal life and in your interactions with others, people will see you as reliable and trustworthy. This builds mutual respect in any relationship. Conversely, if you habitually break promises to yourself, others will pick up on this pattern. They may start to believe that your time, goals, or commitments aren't that important simply because you're not prioritizing them. This can lead to a cycle where others feel comfortable dismissing your needs or requests because they see you doing the same. This dynamic erodes not only your own self-respect, but also the respect others have for you. People are often guided by the unspoken cues we give about how we expect to be treated, and if those cues suggest that we don't respect ourselves, it becomes easier for them to overlook our needs as well. Respecting yourself also means being mindful of how you speak to and about yourself. Negative self-talk or constantly putting yourself down can influence how others perceive and treat you. If you continuously belittle your abilities, people might start believing it, and they'll treat you accordingly. But if you project confidence, speak positively about yourself, and acknowledge your own strengths, others will mirror that perception. Confidence is contagious, and when you display it, others are more likely to treat you with the respect and recognition you deserve. It's important to remember that the energy you bring into any interaction, whether it's confidence, respect, or self-doubt, sets the tone for how that interaction unfolds. When you consistently treat yourself with respect, others are more likely to follow suit. You become someone who commands respect not through force or demands, but simply by the way you carry yourself. Ultimately, the relationship you have with yourself forms the foundation for every other relationship in your life. By respecting yourself first, you set a standard that encourages others to treat you with the same level of respect, creating healthier, more balanced relationships across the board. Self-respect is often misunderstood as being selfish or narcissistic, but in reality, it serves as a critical foundation for healthy relationships and overall well-being. Many people fall into the trap of thinking that prioritizing their own needs and desires is somehow wrong or self-centered. However, self-respect is not about putting yourself above others. It's about recognizing your own worth and treating yourself with the same kindness and consideration you would offer to a friend. This mindset allows you to show up as your best self in all aspects of your life, ultimately enhancing your relationships with others. When you practice self-respect, you create a strong sense of self-awareness that helps you understand your own needs, values, and boundaries. This understanding enables you to communicate effectively with others about what you require in relationships. For instance, if you are clear about your needs and can articulate them with confidence, it becomes easier to foster mutual respect with those around you. This clarity encourages open dialogue and builds a sense of trust, which is essential for healthy interactions. When you respect yourself enough to voice your needs, you create an environment where others feel safe to do the same. Moreover, self-respect fosters healthier boundaries, which are crucial for maintaining balanced relationships. When you know your worth, you're more likely to assert your boundaries and protect your time and energy. This means saying no when you need to, stepping away from toxic relationships, and not tolerating behavior that undermines your well-being. When others see you uphold your boundaries, they are more likely to respect them as well. It creates a culture of mutual respect where everyone's needs are acknowledged and no one feels taken for granted. In contrast, failing to respect yourself often leads to allowing others to take advantage of you. When you neglect your own needs and boundaries, you send a signal that your time and energy are not valuable. This can lead to a cycle of unhealthy relationships where you constantly feel drained or unappreciated. By recognizing your worth and prioritizing self-respect, you disrupt this cycle and reclaim your power. You teach others how to treat you based on how you treat yourself, ultimately leading to more fulfilling and balanced relationships. Self-respect also plays a crucial role in fostering empathy and kindness toward others. When you respect yourself, you cultivate a sense of inner peace that allows you to engage with others from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You're less likely to react defensively or feel threatened when someone disagrees with you or offers constructive criticism. Instead, you can approach interactions with an open mind and heart, fostering deeper connections. This ability to empathize and connect with others enriches your relationships and creates a positive feedback loop where mutual respect flourishes. Furthermore, practicing self-respect enhances your overall mental and emotional well-being. When you acknowledge your worth, you become more resilient in the face of challenges. You develop a stronger sense of self, which enables you to navigate difficult situations with confidence and grace. This resilience not only benefits you, but also sets an example for others, showing them that self-respect is essential for a fulfilling life. Lastly, self-respect encourages you to pursue your passions and dreams unapologetically. When you believe in your worth, you are more likely to chase after the things that truly matter to you, whether that's a career goal, a creative project, or a personal ambition. This pursuit of fulfillment inspires those around you and reinforces the idea that everyone has the right to seek their happiness. In summary, self-respect is not a selfish endeavor, it is the cornerstone of healthy relationships and personal growth. By respecting yourself, you create a ripple effect that influences how others treat you, fosters healthy boundaries, enhances your emotional well-being, and inspires deeper connections. Ultimately, self-respect empowers you to live authentically and pursue your passions, creating a life that reflects your true self and values.